Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're wondering why I'm starting like this, I've decided it was a little bit too, I don't know, stuffy to say good morning, afternoon, or evening, and welcome to my channel, depending on where you are, what time of day it is, all that. It's just too stuffy, so it's just, hey guys. In this video today, again, we're not staying in WoW. We're going to go to PSO, but I'm going to showcase for you my Halloween music pack. The month after September is October, and spooky season is swiftly coming upon us. And so I figured I might as well repost my Halloween music pack. I've had a lot to think about since last January, when I probably should not have overreacted like I did and deleted all my PSO stuff. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to redo this project, but things have cooled down. So I figure, you know, I might as well repost all my music packs and do all the showcases again and get everything back where they belong, and then finish my PSO project. So in this episode, we're going to showcase for you my Halloween music pack. Now, the most creepy Halloween-esque music I have are my albums from Castlevania. And I have the Castlevania Lament of Innocence album that was released on PlayStation 2 20 years ago. And I have Castlevania Curse of Darkness. And between those two albums, I was able to make an entire music pack for PSO, which just makes the game so creepy, because Castlevania is medieval horror while still being fun. Like, there's not a whole bunch of blood and gore, but there are skeletons and monsters and vampires and Medusae and all sorts of evil creatures you get to fight, but it's such a fun game. And then you get to go up against Death, and then Death gave Dracula life, and then you got to kill Dracula and then Death, and it's so cool. And while I don't normally do horror very well, because I've grown up and I'm a devout Christian, my sister's favorite holiday is Halloween, and a lot of people on the PSO server like the Halloween event, especially getting the Hallow Rappies for the pumpkins that give the really cool weapons and armors for Sonic. It's just so Halloween's a big deal in the rest of the world. So I used the albums of Lament of Innocence and Curse of Darkness to make this music pack for Halloween. So right now we're going to transition over to PSO, and I will showcase for you my Halloween music pack, and I hope you enjoy it. So I'll meet up with you in just a moment. Welcome to PSO. The music that you're hearing on the title screen for my Halloween pack is called the Prologue from Lament of Innocence. So I'm going to be quiet and let you listen to this most creepy track. So what'd you think? That is the prologue to Lament of Innocence. As we begin the game, we are brought to Character Select, and for Character Select, I have the title of Prologue to the Black Abyss from Lament of Innocence. So here we go, Prologue to the Black Abyss. Kind of creepy, huh? But then again, like I said, this is the creepiest music I have is my Castlevania albums. So, when you come into PSO and you're making your first character, you get to choose between Hunter, Ranger, and Force. And each of these 3 classes are subdivided into 4 subclasses, whether you want to be a human, Newmen, which are elf-like creatures with long pointed ears, or androids, as the situation allows. And when you make your character, you are brought into the dressing room. And the track here in the dressing room is called Prologue from Curse of Darkness. So this is the beginning of the game from Curse of Darkness. And you can choose all sorts of stuff, like you can choose different hairstyles, in the case of Rangers, different helmets and whatnot. You can change their color and whatnot. Just have it be whatever you want. You can change their costume color, and there's lots of different options for costumes and whatnot. As you create your character, you can choose skin color, proportion, you can name your character, and then when you're done, you are assigned a section ID and inserted into the game. And this next track, when we go to the lobby, is the one track that is not from Castlevania. But I had a special request from one of you guys in the PSO Discord that they sent me messages like, if you make a Halloween music pack, can you make the lobby be This Is Halloween from Halloween Town in Kingdom Hearts? So I thought about it, and I went to my Kingdom Hearts albums, and so I made the lobby music This Is Halloween. How cool is that, right? I wish that, you know what I might do is, maybe what I'll do with this music pack is I'll change the Halloween track that's in PSO OGG folder to this track right here, so when they go to the Halloween music and the Halloween events, it plays this in the lobby instead of the Halloween track that's normally in the game. Well, I'm recording this on the same day that I recorded the previous showcase, so the Triforce event is still going on, and so when we get to the lobby, it's still going to play Zelda. Yeah. Well, we're just going to go to lobby 9, and I'm going to do lobby event 2, so LOBBY EVENT space the number 2, and that just plays the regular lobby music. But when I'm done with this showcase, I might just take the lobby music and copy that into the Halloween track for the PSO folder. But I'll just let you listen to This Is Halloween for a minute. there it is. This is Halloween. It's by Danny Elfman. It was in Kingdom Hearts for Halloween Town. So we're going to come to the desk here. We're going to create a party in episode 1. And you know me, periods for party names. And then because we have to be on regular, not in one-player mode, we're just going to do gobbledygook for our password. And our difficulty, if we want to see all phases of Darkfall, we have to be on at least hard. So here we are going into episode 1. And the track in the guild hall is called Cordova Town from Curse of Darkness. I hope you guys have subwoofers on your computer because there is a lot of bass in the Halloween patch. Okay, so as we go out into the ship area, this is the Ghostly Theater from Lament of Innocence. So, this is Ghostly Theater from Lament of Innocence. Now, we come into the shops, and this track is called Rinaldo's Cabin, also from Lament of Innocence. In that game, Rinaldo's Cabin acts as the de facto shop where you can sell your stuff and buy new weapons and buy new armors and whatnot. So, Rinaldo's Cabin in the shopping area. Now we come over here to the principal's teleporter, and in the principal's office, the track is called Fog-Enshrouded Nightscape from Lament of Innocence. So that is Fog-Enshrouded Nightscape. Now, as we go over here to the medical area, this track is called Garibaldi Courtyard from Curse of Darkness. And there's these church bells in the background, and I just love this. You hear that church bell? There is another one. And then it goes back to the beginning. Okay, let's go into the guild area, and we'll start up towards the future, and this time we're just going to do the regular towards the future. No, we want to go to VR. And now I can showcase for you all the music in episode 1. We're just going to skip all of this, blah, blah, blah. And let's get down to the planet. Now, in Forest 1 and Forest 2, the music for those areas is called the Forest of Jigramunt. And that's the first area in Curse of Darkness, the Forest of Jigramunt. And it sounds pretty cool, especially for Halloween. And the time is only 7:52, so we might get Heaven's Judgment by the end of this. Oh gosh, all the boomers. So we get a red box from a Hilda Blue and a Hilda Rare. Interesting. So, Visk from the Bear and Walzen K2 from Hilda Blue. Okay, for the Dragon Boss, I used a track called Followers of Darkness the Second from Curse of Darkness. And these boss tracks are incredible. So Followers of Darkness the Second. So, as we move on into the caves, this track is called Anti-Soul Mystery Lab from Lament of Innocence. It's one of the most intense tracks from that game. Anti-Soul Mystery Lab, here we go. Alright, for the Day Relay boss, it is Elemental Tactician, which was the boss of the Anthos Mystery Lab. So, Elemental Tactician for Day Relay. Here we go. And again, I get a model. I mean, isn't this music cool? So, as we move on to the mines, this track is called the Eneomaos Machine Tower from Curse of Darkness, and it has a lot of clicky, clocky, tick-tocky sounds in it. Alright, for the Volop fight. because there's 2 phases, we get 2 tracks. The first track is called Followers of Darkness the Third from Curse of Darkness, and phase 2 is called Legendary Belmont, also from Curse of Darkness. So here we go. Followers of Darkness the Third. And now we go into Legendary Belmont. Okay, as we go into the ruins, this track is called House of Sacred Remains from Lament of Innocence. And one of the coolest things about this track is there is a lot of organ music all the way to the end of episode 1. A lot of organ music. So here we go. another bass. Alright, for the Dark Falls fight. The meadow before falls is called Statue Enchanted by Darkness from Lament of Innocence. And then Dark Falls Phase 1 and 2 is called Dark Night Toccata from Lament of Innocence. And these toccatas are on the organ and they are super fast and they are so cool. And then Dark Falls Phase 3 is a toccata into Bloodstained Darkness from Curse of Darkness. So here we go. The meadow before falls is called Statue Enchanted by Darkness. But once again, this track is called Statue Enchanted by Darkness. And now we get Dark Night Toccata for Phase 1 and 2. Okay, and now we get a toccata into Blood-Soaked Darkness. This is Phase 3. And as we kill Dark Falls, we come to a track called True to Your Dreams from Curse of Darkness. So that is all the music in episode 1. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to make an episode 2 room, and I will meet you just outside of the teleporter to the lab, where we can showcase the last remaining new music for Pioneer 2. So I'll meet up with you in just a moment. Alright, here we are in an episode 2 game, and we are at the lab teleporter. And the music I used in the lab, it's called Despair from Lament of Innocence. It sounds like this. So, yeah, this is called Despair. Let's go to the guild hall and let's start up Respective Tomorrow so I can show you all the music in episode 2. We're just going to skip all of this. So our first level in episode 2 is the temple, and the music of the temple is called Abandoned Castle from Curse of Darkness. Oh, right. For Barbara Ray, the boss of the temple, this track is called Followers of Darkness, the First, also from Curse of Darkness. Alright, so now that the Barbara Ray is dead, we just have to wait for it to dock with that. Here, way down there. But this track is Followers of Darkness, the First. And as we move into the spaceship, we get one of the coolest tracks in all of Castlevania. It's called Lament of Innocence, and it's Leon Belmont's theme from Lament of Innocence. And it is this massively incredible piano track. So, in the spaceship, Lament of Innocence. Alright, as we come now to the Gold Dragon boss of the spaceship, this track is Stone King Golem from Lament of Innocence. So, here we are, Stone King Golem. Oh, and what does the Gold Dragon give me? A brave metal, of course. Alright, I cannot change any of the music in the central control area. So what I'll do is I will meet up with you as soon as I get to the teleporter to the Gal Griffin. And the Gal Griffin fight music is called Melancholy Joachim. So I'll meet up with you in just a moment. Alright, we have fought our way to the teleporter to the Gal Griffin, and this boss fight's track is called Melancholy Joachim. Alright, as we now go into the seabed, this track is called the Iolon Ruins from Curse of Darkness, and it is so creepy. So, here we go. Alright, as we come to the Ogre fight, there are 3 tracks in this fight. The first one is called Prison of Eternal Torture. That's Phase 1 of Ogre. And then between Phase 1 and 2, there's a track called Snakehead Medusa. Oh, sorry, the track in the hall is Dracula Appears, and then the second phase is Snakehead Medusa. So here we go, Prison of Eternal Torture. Alright, as we go into Phase 2, this big room where Ogre's lying on the floor, this is called Dracula Appears. And then we get Snakehead Medusa as the final fight in Episode 2. So here we go. There we go. Now, the ending of this is Endless Sorrow from Curse of Darkness, but because we only get to hear 30 seconds of it, you'll have to come here, like, just select the seabed, do both levels of seabed, and then you can stay in this room forever. But in respect of tomorrow, we only get to stay in this room for 30 seconds. So, Endless Sorrow. So as you can see, you only get to hear 30 seconds of it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to head into episode 4. I'm going to do Path of Destruction, and because I can't change any of the music in episode 4 except for the boss fight, I'll meet up with you as soon as I get to the portal to either Condrieu or Chambertin. So I'll see you in just a moment. Alright, welcome back, and here we are at the teleporter to either Chambertin or Condrieu. And for this fight, the music is called Bazaar Room, which is basically the Undead Parasite Room from Lament of Innocence. So as soon as the boss fight starts, we're going to get some intense, creepy, horrific music. So here we go. It's like a Chambertin again. Let's see if we can't take out this boss as soon as we get over to him. There we go, we got him. Okay, so as we kill Chambertin, this music is called Wahim of the Clear Blue Riverside. Oh, we got a drop. What did we get? And we get a dragon scale. We can make Telessus now. Yay! Yeah, this music is called Wahim of the Clear Blue Riverside. And while there are other tracks for like Quest Clear, or if you have special encounters with like Red Ring Rico, or even Heathcliff Flow in episode 2. There's special music for that. And what I'm going to be doing after I get all these showcases posted again and all my music pack posted again, I'm going to go through to all my older music packs that I made first off, and I'm going to add in dual music. There's 2 dual tracks that I can make. I'm going to make 2 dual tracks, and also happy music for the happy quest clear and sad music for the sad quest clear. So I'll be adding those 4 tracks to all my previous music packs. So watch out for that, and I will let you know when that happens. But if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give me a like, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell so you always know when new content comes out. Also, please tell your friends about me so they can come and they can enjoy these videos and enjoy the adventures just as much as you do. Finally, and most important of all, please remember this. Phantasy Star Online is just a game. And games are meant to be fun, and you're supposed to have fun while playing them, so if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. Meet me back here next time, where I will probably show off yet another music pack just to get things reposted. And if I get all my music packs reposted, then I can work on a new music pack for the anniversary event, maybe using the music of Star Ocean. But I have a lot of work to do to get to that point. But I want to get my music packs reposted, all the showcases reposted, and then we'll go back to the adventure and show you the rest of the quest moving on to the heart. I look forward to bringing you those adventures, but until then, I'm C, signing off.